Let's move on with the course Business Ethics, and topic 3 will be ethics and business decision making. At the end of this particular topic, students should be able to understand ethical decision making, identify ethical principles and ethical behaviors, apply the approaches to ethics education, and also list excuses, rationalizations and temptations for unethical behavior, and find out how ethical decision making is applied in business. Every day we face situations which test our ethical consciousness and commitment. We rely heavily on habits, common sense and our perceptions of custom to make decisions. In recent years, we have witnessed a growing concern about the way people are behaving, and in response to this awareness, there has been a revived interest in ethics education. Many a times people behave in a certain fashion and apply these actions as their character simply for the sake of suitability and availability, or generally adopt follow the leader policy. It is understood that no two situations are same and actions vary according to the many factors like culture, religion or nationality. It has to be remembered here that what is good for me may not be good for you. But if do unto others as you would have them so unto you, and love thy neighbor as thyself are followed, there will be no scope for complaint and actions will have ethical consequences. Once ethical education is acquired, an individual will be able to make better choices and his decision making will have an overall involvement of all concerned, and no selfish attitude will be identified. A person is born with certain traits, and these traits have to be learnt and acquired also through family and friends, neighbors, colleagues and society. And once personality development becomes complete, his decision-making skills improve and ethics will come into place. What is ethical decision-making? It refers to a process of choosing and evaluating alternate courses of conduct in terms of the list of ethical principles. The first task of ethical decision making is to distinguish between ethical from unethical responses. The second is to choose the best response from the ethically appropriate ones. Under normal circumstances, we make many decisions, small and big, in our day-to-day lives. Not all meet up to the moral standards. For example, when a student wants to pursue education, his choice of the university and courses will be more based on financial and personal issues rather than ethical issues. Most of these decisions are made in the context of economic, professional and social pressures which complete the ethical goals and conceal or confuse the moral issues. When there is an opportunity or a problem, a decision-making process commences. Many alternatives will arise, and after analyzing the pros and cons, one alternative is chosen, which will be the most suitable given the situation. For the sake of making ethical decisions, one must gain ethics education and identify ethical principles to make ethical decisions. Ethical subjectivism is a viewpoint that is sometimes expressed as, what is right for me may not be right for you. The statement highlights that morally correct decisions often depends on the circumstances of the person making it. If circumstances of different persons are very different, then the right decision for them may also be different, even though they accept the same moral standards. At times, excuses, justifications, temptations may influence ethical decisions. For these reasons, a thorough understanding of basic principles and approaches are required. Let us look at the approaches to ethics education. Education is a learning process. The environments can be many and different. The first learning platform is at home, and then from educational institutions, workplace, and the society we live in, we gain more knowledge. These learned habits become virtues and traits and develop as character of an individual. For example, when parents follow punctuality in their schedules, the child adopts the same in practice. Sometimes when what is failed to be taught at home can be acquired from learning institutions or workplace, if there is an individual who is an employee, has no respect for time, is punished for late coming by salary cut, he will reform himself at least for the fear of punishment. Hence, character can be developed, inculcated and reinforced on individuals even in years to come. That is, after he has become an adult. Education in ethics should also be to develop qualities beyond character through ethical commitment, ethical consciousness, and ethical competency. When an adult has developed his character in an ethical manner, automatically he will be found to be committed to his deeds, and this commitment is due to the fact his conscience is clear and follows the basic moral standards that have universal applications. All these are possible due to the competency he has in the awareness, selection and application of moral standards most appropriately. Now, what are ethical principles? Virtues normally enable people to do what moral principles require. Some common ethical principles are courage, honesty, integrity, promise-keeping, fidelity, fairness, caring for others, respect for others, responsible citizenship, pursuit of excellence, and accountability. For example, if one is courageous, he will stick to his stand and will have no fear of the consequences that may tempt or threaten him otherwise. These principles have stood the test of time and can be found in the same form in all religions, scriptures, teachings, and laws of different countries across the globe. When an individual is a responsible citizen, he will be patriotic. When he wants to excel in his deeds, he will be a high achiever. When he does not break promises, he becomes dependable and trustworthy. His fidelity explains his loyalty towards his employer, and he will never cheat for the personal gain. When he is caring and shows respect for others, he is more humane and will always be selfless and keep others in mind. Hence, ethical principles act as guiding forces and result in ethical code of conduct. What is an ethical behavior? Any behavior is an outcome of a number of factors like self-belief, peer pressure, expectations of the society, family workplace norms, etc. These influencing factors can either limit or extend one's behavior. A person above a legal age can smoke, but it may be unethical to do so for the evils associated with it. Due to peer pressure, he may take up smoking even though he may not like it, simply because of peer pressure and acceptance from the group. Certain behaviors happen either due to ignorance or misconception of facts. Also, an insensitive person can be seen highly emotional in a wrong place. It is a story of an aristocrat lady who was a ruthless slave driver for her employees. Once she visited an opera house on a cold winter night in a carriage with footmen. They were ordered to wait outside in snow till she finished the show. During the show, many a times she wiped tears as she was so much engrossed that when she returned to her carriage and found one of the footmen frozen to death, she did not show any remorse. Such behaviors cannot be ethical as they are highly misplaced. Common misconceptions found among the people are: ethics are only concerned with misconduct. If it is legal, it is ethical. There is a single right answer, etc. Ethics need not be associated with misconduct. Good acts like fair dealings, right applications are also ethics. What is legally okay need not be ethically okay, and vice versa. To have a non-vegetarian diet may be legally accepted by one's religion or ethnic belief, may consider it unethical, so such consumption will not be advised. As individuals come from different backgrounds, there cannot be a single right answer to a behavior. Even given the same person, his behavior will be different under different circumstances. A surgeon may not operate on a patient until he gets approval from the family, but during emergency, if he waits, it may be life-threatening for the patient. Now let us see certain excuses, rationalizations and temptations for unethical behaviors. Whenever an unethical behavior is identified, there come immediately certain excuses and rationalizations to justify one's actions. Temptations can also result in unethical behavior. After all, even Adam could not resist the temptation, even in a place called heaven. There are 3 reasons for such unethical behaviors. The first one is unawareness and insensitivity. Here, the basic belief is that everyone does it. This argument states that what can be wrong if others are also indulging in same actions? Example, to take office stationery home for personal use when other colleagues do the same. The second one is to get along, go along. This is to be with the tide so that one does not want to be in trouble. Example, to praise and show favoritism, to be in a group and see that the job is secure. The next one is that they don't understand. This is to say that no one does want to defy but does not do so because other people will either not understand or appreciate. Example, if a person has a valid point for the betterment of an institution, he may not put it forth if he is not assertive and will excuse on the grounds that others will not accept what he is saying. The next one, it is not my job, it's not my problem, and it's not my worry. Here everybody thinks it is not his job to be ethical, it is for others to follow. Example, when there is a concern for fellow being, when there is no initiative, this excuse will be predominant. Ethics is a luxury, I can't afford it right now. It is as though to be ethical is a big effort and time consuming, and for the present the individual has more important things to do. Example, to be punctual for work, submission of reports on time and such activities need not be conducted out of the way. They are simple routine tasks, so there is no luxury here. The second question that is normally put forth as an excuse would be selflessness due to self-indulgence. When a person does an act as per his wish, he may not show any concern for others, and he will always keep his motives in priority. Self-protection. This will act as a shield for one's unethical acts, and a person, in order to protect his own interest, will be inconsiderate to others and may even sometimes justify his unethical actions. Self-righteousness. It is a belief in certain self-made theories as correct, and an individual will uphold his own rules and practice them even though they may not be ethical in nature. The next excuse is due to defective reasoning. When facts are inaccurate or unclear, an individual may come to certain deduced reasoning and apply the same into actions. In reality, such reasoning can be defective due to incomplete information. This normally happens when one-sided information is got and people come to wrong conclusions. So now let us come to understand ethical decision making in business. Whenever there is an opportunity or a problem, a 7-step model can be created to enable decision making. The following are the steps to be identified. Identify the desired outcome, define the problem, examine difficulties and obstacles, develop alternative solutions, select best solution, delineate specific steps, identify the reactions and the rewards. Let us assume a problem with a business organization and observe how an ethical decision making is possible. Suppose an existing manufacturing plant has operating machinery which has its pollution emission level higher than required. The desired outcome will be to control or reduce the pollution level. The defined problem is that the machinery is the cause for such high level of pollution, and it is because it has become outdated and required to be replaced. The obstacle or barrier is the financial constraint, and moreover the book value of the asset is still not completely written off. And if done now, it will show a loss which will affect the profit and loss statement and the other financial records. The alternatives are to replace, repair, update or bribe the officers of the Pollution Control Board, or to keep polluting the environment and affect the external costs till action is taken. When selecting the best solution, each alternative has to be analyzed from all factors in mind. When the last two options are chosen, unethical activities will be made. So the organization should look at a solution in the long run and come to the best conclusion or to choose the best alternative, keeping the investors, employees, customers, government and the general public in focus. Any unethical activity can also pave way for whistleblowers to erupt. A typical example is about Erin Brockovich, who blew the whistle on groundwater contamination. Many other problem-solving methodologies also exist. However, whichever technique is adopted, a clear understanding of the problem, ethically related components and the outcome are to be well recognized before making a final decision. There are certain common excuses to unethical behavior, and this really, when you look at from the practical side of it, this is the reality of the situation, which says that I am doing this one as a stray incident. I will never repeat it. The second one is they will never miss it. The third says the system is correct. And a fourth is that the boss does it. The fifth says some rules are meant to be broken. And lastly, it says once I succeed, I will become ethical. Definitely there are certain words of wisdom given for ethical behavior. The first one is given by Confucius, and he says, to know what is right and not to do it is the worst cowardice. And somebody said, anonymous, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Thomas H. Huxley, he said, it is not what is right, but what is right that is of importance. Honesty is the cornerstone of all success, without which confidence and ability to perform cease to exist. This is according to Mary K. Ash. And Shiv Khera, he has written this in his book, You Can Win. Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become habits. Watch your habits, they become characters. Watch your character, it becomes destiny. Now this learning has come to a conclusion of chapter 3, and we will be moving on to the next topic, topic 4. It's about agency, legitimacy and responsibility.